Okay, I'm back. All cleaned up. And we put this on like so. Yeah. And we move this up like so. And actually, even though there is no hint of rust, hopefully it can't hurt. What I was looking for is that there are two pins that you need to match up, which is what I was attempting to do. Here's my cleaned up nut. It's not perfect, but you know what I think I'm going to do just for yucks? I think I'm going to bathe that nut in some navel jelly for 15 minutes and see if I can't neutralize the rust. So I'll be back once more. I'm taking my time and trying to do this right and trying to do it in a way that hopefully I will not have to revisit this for 100,000 miles. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, here's our nut all cleaned up. Put some navel jelly on it to hopefully discourage the rust. We'll also spritz the PB blaster. However, we forgot something. Where am I here? This washer goes inside, so and it goes on one way because there's a little recess inside the washer. It goes on like that. Now Okay. Now, since I rinsed this off with water, I'm going to spray this with some WD-40 to disperse. The water on the inside of the threads, in case there's any there. And we start that. Now we're supposed to bottom that 18. We can use a long socket. And that's a 1/4 inch. Let's see how far we can get. Oh no, it's not. It's 3/8. Where's my 3/8 drive? Now I've got WD-30 on my hands. And where do my gloves go? They must be inside. Damn it. I'll be back. See if that's turning. Nope, not yet. That's as far as that's gonna go. So, back to this. I think that's it. Where's my glasses? Where's my flashlight? I don't want to put my face in front of this thing. Can't do much more in terms of how this wrench will reach. I think I'm at the bottom of the threads. Okay, so this thing's all back together. Now all I have to do is ever so carefully release the spring. Let's make sure that I've got and I don't. Spring is not butted up against that rubber part. It was before. So it needs to be again. Okay. Oop, don't want to do that. I'm just watching. Make sure this thing doesn't shift. Okay. You've got an extra deep 18mm socket, it would be very useful in this circumstance. Double check. No shift. It's now butted up against. And it's time to release the spring. And we're going to do that in the same fashion. We'll do a little bit at a time. On both sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. still flush. Bottom of the spring looks well set. A little more fluid film, please. Okay. Okay. And since this little hole up top is important to the auto ride, let's keep that protected for now. I do believe we are ready to install. Film, I think. Move it away. And now we reinstall. Okay, reinstallation next. Okay. More fluid film in there. And we want to drop this in. And we want where the spring meets that whatever, this post, we want to go closest to us. She's heavy. Okay. Nice to have a third arm. I'm using the floor jack, which I think is out of field of view for you guys. Okay. First, let's put the nuts on up top so this thing doesn't drop out. Okay. Nuts are in. Let's see if I can't continue to use the floor jack to maneuver this shock in place. So hang on, I'll be back. Okay guys, it was a bit of a struggle. My battery's about to die, so very quickly, I didn't need the tire jack that came with the car to lift the shock up. What I needed to do was pry the lower control arm down and then give the shock absorber a couple of love taps with a 5-pound sledge to encourage it to go into its home. In addition to that, it was a little bit twisted, so what I did was I took a pipe wrench, actually. Okay, people. I am back. I am about to start working on the passenger side shock, and I'm not going to show you every single step because I've already showed you the majority of the steps on the driver's side shock, and there's no real difference. The one thing that I do want to show is how do we get this sensor off without breaking it. So on the driver's side, I broke it by tugging on it. And tugging on it is not the way that you get the sensor off. I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a little tab on the side. Let me see if I can point to it. This tab, which I assume is a release tab, which we can try. If that doesn't work, then there is a hexagon, I guess a specialized nut that that sensor mounts to, that we could unplug the sensor from its electrical connection and if that specialized nut will turn, then we could twist it off from the nut, from the threaded part of the shock shaft. That could be another way, or we could just disconnect the sensor, and when we're ready to drop the shock tower, or drop the shock out of the shock tower, just carefully drop that sensor down with it still attached, and pull it out through the shock tower and remove it at our leisure on the workbench. I don't particularly favor that option because there's a risk that shock is heavy, and if you lose control of it, then you could wind up getting this sensor caught on the edge of the shock tower, and you could once again break it off. And the object here is to not break this sensor. So those are my options, and we'll see which one works. I am going to try using the first option, which is to press that tab and see if the sensor will pop off. You're not going to be able to see that because my hand is going to be in the way, so I'm not even going to try and record that. But if that's not successful, then we'll try removing this elongated nut next, and I will try to record that, so we'll see how that goes. So that's the battle plan, and let's see what happens. Okay. Nice. The camera was off position, but again, that's the target of my desires to remove that sensor off the top of the shock. So let's get to it, see what happens. Okay, by pushing on this tab, I was able to safely remove this sensor without breaking it. And when I pushed on this tab, this whole metal came, the metal locking, whatever you want to call it, came off, and then it was a simple, gentle tug to remove the sensor. So I can't do this one-handed, but like I said, this that metal locking spring, I guess, came off completely, and I was able to remove the tab. And then of course I disconnected the electrical connector, and now this sensor has been safely removed. It's intact, and I will set it aside in a safe place so it neither disappears nor gets hurt, and we can reuse it when the new shock is installed. So mission accomplished, and happy about that. And I still haven't actually found out what this part number is. I've got somebody I know who is a mechanic, actually the son of a friend of mine who's a mechanic. I gave him the VIN for this car and the details on what this is, because the driver's side is epoxied together, and I imagine eventually it will fail, so I'm going to want to get one of these for the driver's side and replace that one now that I know how to remove it properly. So that's the deal. So I'm going to move on to removing this shock. Again, you've seen all of that, so I'm not going to record any of that. The other piece that I missed on the driver's side shock was the reinstallation, because my camcorder battery died. And so when I get to the point of installing or getting the bottom of the shock back into its correct position, I will record that piece for you guys so you can see what I did there too. And then this job will be done. So onward and upward. I just wanted to give you another look at this. I called it a elongated nut before, but this is the mount for the shock sensor. So this has got to come off and be transferred. Where did I go? It has to come off and be transferred to the new shock. once I get it off, I'm going to grind off some of this rust and reuse it. But I wanted to show you that this lip here is where the sensor goes. So where is that sensor? Oops. Sensor. So the sensor sits on top of it like that and clips on around that lip. So I just wanted to give you a better view of that, and now we're going to proceed to take the spring off and do the needful, as they say, to transfer this spring over to the new shock. So onward and upward. And that's what it looks like removed. And my little impact wrench couldn't do it, but the big Milwaukee took it right off. So I got to get that nut removed, or the springs compressed first, and then remove that nut, and then I can transfer it over like I did before. Okay, see you, bye. Okay, this is where my camcorder cut off on the driver's side, just as I was struggling to get the shock back into position. And here we have the new shock with the old spring. I was trying to use the car's tire jack to lift up the shock, but that turned out to be incorrect. What you need to do is you need to just push down on the control arm in order to get this thing to pop into position, just like that. So that's what you need to do. Apply a little bit of downward force on the control arm, which is why we removed the sway bar link, to make that easier to do, and your shock should move into place. Now, if I didn't point this out explicitly before, I just want to point it out here. There's an alignment that you need to be aware of. So you see where the top of the spring starts. You see that there's a little white mark from the factory. Here's another white mark from the factory. The shock mount down here needs to align with that mark in order for the shock to go back correctly. Now, on the driver's side, it was a little bit cockeyed, so that this down here was a little bit twisted, and I literally took a pipe wrench and I turned it to where I needed it. In this case, I did a little bit of a better job aligning the orientation of the shock with the spring and the mount, and it fell into place nicely. So all I need to do now is just align the bolts, and then put the sway bar link back in, tire back on, and this job is done. You can also see that I gooped up the shock tower and the upper not sway bar, the upper control arm mounts with the fluid film snot to try to keep the rust meister at bay to the extent possible. So we'll see how well that works. Anyway, that wraps it up for replacing the shocks on a Black Diamond 2013 Chevy Avalanche LTZ. Hope this helped you, especially with that auto ride sensor thing, of which there is almost no information that I could find available on the interweb about that sensor, how to take it off, how it even works, and so on. So if no other reason, hopefully that makes this video worthwhile for you all. So that's it. Until the next repair adventure, which is inevitable, we will see each other again at some point. Thanks a lot.